Hi everyone. Welcome, 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 welcome. Have you guys ever seen She's the Man? That was a David Cross moment. It's a very underrated movie. Amanda Bynes. I know she's not everyone's cup of tea, but she is hilarious. So yes, good morning. We are talking about my composite chart with my twin flame today. I was going to read you the whole thing, but I still like have this feeling like I want to keep some things private, between us. So I'm only going to read you like the highlights of the chart. But basically, oh dang. Basically, I found these interpretations of degrees. So there are Sabian symbols, and Sabian symbols are sort of they look at the degrees of the zodiac, and you take each degree and you sort of whoever, like in this case, Elias Lonsdale, Inside Degrees. That's the book he channeled these degrees from through. What am I talking about? I have had my coffee. But anyway, they it's sort of a poetic channeling of the degrees in your natal chart. So if you go to your natal chart, you'll see that your ascendant would be something like Sagittarius at 13 degrees, right? So each sign's degrees has a different interpretation. And it's not just like Elias Lonsdale is not the authority on the interpretations of the degrees, right? It's just one interpretation out of like many interpretations. So I told you guys yesterday that I was about to throw in the towel on this twin flame journey. I guess surrender, release. I'm not in a like, screw this, I'm done, like, done with them forever. But I have waited a long time, and it is affecting my energy. That's on me. That isn't necessarily on my twin flame, although I feel like there has been some complacency, and like the universe is just going to will it to happen, on his side. I mean, we can hear each other, so I know what's going through your mind. I know what's going through your thoughts. I can hear you all day, every day. So you're not like hiding anything really. That's something else I can get into, but let's go through this. So I've been a little irritated with the journey, and just that sort of like desperation of hanging on. And I was doing good, like believing like it could happen and being in a good space and being positive, and then something hit. I can't even remember what triggered. And it was just like, you know what? You're not here now. And I need someone here now. And I'm tired of waiting. And is it ever going to happen? But a lot of these spiritual journeys we're going through, they are on the 5D plane. They're not in the 3D world. So it is very confusing, and it can really like twist with your head. So I've been thinking about my experience yesterday with my high school boyfriend reaching out, and I got some clarity about the situation, and I think there's some mental illness stuff, and I like it was never my intention to like make fun of anyone or embarrass anyone, and this is definitely not like doing any of that, but I this isn't new, but I've had friends who have suffered from mental illness, and they get involved in spirituality, and it really distorts their reality even further, because sort of that Piscean 12th house, behind that veil, there isn't any 3D proof, right? And so if you are suffering from delusions as it is, because there's some sort of like chemical imbalance, then this experience has really got me thinking about how this community could affect those with mental illness. So if you are suffering from mental illness, my heart does go out to you. Please don't just rely on these tarot videos. It was brought to my attention that my ex-boyfriend is suffering from some mental health situations, and I totally understand. I've been pretty open about my trauma. It's broken my brain. I'm dissociating from a few things. So it's not like I am in perfect mental health. There are things I've had to do to like withdraw my energy to make sure I'm in check, right? But this is just like a PSA for you guys to be mindful whenever you're watching, Capricorn, July 2020, or pick a card readings, hanging on for that like word of, is this my twin flame? Is this not my twin flame? And am I getting the signs? Oh, I am getting the signs, because it's like, in my experience, the twin flame journey is something I was running away from, and it kept showing up in my face. Like the signs kept like, bam, bam, bam. It wasn't something I was like, I need a twin flame. I need a twin flame. I actually didn't believe in soulmates until like a few years ago. So, the twin flame journey for me is definitely a mission that I was initiated into. It's not something that I have actively sought. So if you are, if you feel that sort of desperation, like wanting clues, wanting signs that, you two are meant to be together, then you're going to find them from random videos. But if you're suffering from mental illness, I don't know if these videos are that great for you right now. And I'm not saying that these things aren't real, and I'm not saying that, the spiritual community, that the signs aren't real, or that twin flames don't matter, you don't have a twin flame or anything like that. It's just when we are dealing with different timelines, when we're dealing with the 3D reality and the 5D reality, then there can be a lot of confusion. And if you already have confusion on top of that, just please be mindful. And it's made me think of my own, like, I've waited so long in my twin flame journey experience. Yesterday kind of made me think, like, am I just looking for signs? Is part of my mental illness keeping me in this place? And that's still something that I have to work through myself. But I read these pick-a-cards on YouTube. How does he feel about you? How do they feel about you? And I've done some on Twitter. And I have this friend on Twitter who is really sweet. And he's pretty much like the only Twitter person that I let like slide in my DMs like the most, I guess. I don't usually let people slide into my DMs because I have mentioned all of my shitty love placements, and I just cannot. I also want to tell you guys right now, I'm not going to do an online thing. Like, I'm not going to fall in love with like a viewer or anything. I have to see you like face to face, because I've gotten duped so many times, having Venus in the 12th house, having Venus square moon, that I cannot, like, I can't, I need total transparency and not this illusion, right? So the twin flame journey is kind of hard for me because I do need that 3D physical thing. It's part of my poetry that I'm about to get to. I know I'm putting it off, but I have a lot to say today because a lot has come up. I need a 3D evidence in this lifetime because it's like the 5D is clearer to me, and it's hard to believe the 3D. I don't know. That's another tangent, I guess. But so I am not going to fall for people on Twitter. I'm not going to fall for people on YouTube. I have to like see you like face to face, right? But anyway, there was this Twitter guy, and it's just like fun flirtation, right? So he watched one of my pick a card readings on Twitter. They're like really short. It's like, how do they feel about you? And it's like 2 minutes for each little video. And he was thinking about me, right? And so like he got signs that like, hi. He got signs that like we were destined, right? But I totally wasn't feeling that, and it really wasn't anything against him because, again, he's like one of the few people that I actually like let slide in my DMs. I actually thought he was my twin flame for a while. That's a funny story. Later time, but I interact with him, and he was a little misled by what I was saying in my pick a card reading, right? Because he was hoping that like he was reading it from the perspective that I felt that way about him, but he was wrong because I can't get to that level of feeling. I can like have friends online, but I really cannot like have anything deeper unless you're like face to face with me, because it's just bad for me and I cannot do it. So I want everyone, including myself, to be mindful about any of this like tarot and astrology stuff, because obviously those guys were seeing signs that like I was not feeling. So, you know, it makes me wonder, am I seeing signs that like Martin is not feeling? Also, I'm not going to read all of the excerpts from the degrees, but because I want to keep some things private, right? During this twin flame experience, like I want to share my journey with you guys, but at the same time, I want to keep things like private and intimate and personal. So I can't like tell you every detail. But during this experience, I've kind of realized like maybe I need to provide a little more clarity about who my twin flame is or who I believe my twin flame to be. Because if someone else is looking for signs, then if I'm giving you a nameless twin flame, then they can just insert themselves into that twin flame experience. So I believe Martin is my twin flame. He could very likely not be. We are on like a life journey, and I'm always finding out things about my life that I was wrong about before. Right? And we always want to like believe the best in the ones we love, but you know, one of these days I can go through more of my twin flame experience with you to sort of give you a better understanding about why him and not others, and what makes for a karmic relationship, what makes for a soulmate, what makes for a twin flame. But like I said, I did not believe in soulmates until like maybe 5 years ago. So this twin flame journey experience has made me a believer. I was running away from the signs, and now I see the signs. So anyway, so I was about to throw in the towel on my twin flame journey. I mean, I am like, I kind of don't want to think about it anymore because there's not much I can do at this moment. And I do need like a 3D experience to for my mental health right now, right? So I'm like in the process of letting it go. But I was doing an astrology reading for a client of mine Catherine, I'm sorry. I need to get you London's reading. I wanted to get it to you yesterday, but then things turned around as they are. I'm going to get it to you today. Yes, I need to give her another reading. But while I was in that process, she has sort of a complicated, it's a complicated connection, and I haven't been able to like intuit like I normally have. So I've had to like research her composite chart with this person in a different way, right? So I looked at Elias Lawndale's inside degrees and for my own composite chart with me and my twin flame to just see like how accurate is this in a composite chart, and it blew me away. But like these excerpts, these degrees, they read like poetry. They're a little cryptic, so I'm going to try to explain why it blew me away in the reading. But if you get into this, and I can do it for you, I'd be happy to do it for you because I would be happy to go down this rabbit hole, right? But they're very like subjective, right? So like me and my twin flame might be able to feel these words better than like someone outside of the connection, because whenever you are in a connection, like you have that secret language, and like that same like lived experience, I guess. But like I did my twin flame, just like his natal chart, not synastry, not composite. And some of the stuff like I could see, right? He's a creative genius, by the way. He's a like very brilliant artist. That was really reflected in his chart. But other stuff, it's like, I don't know, right? Like I'd have to ask you, like I never got to know that side of you. So who knows? Yeah, so it's going to be deeply personal for you. So like someone else could read, like I could read my natal chart and like it really like connects with me, but then someone else could read it and they're like, huh? Right? Like that's you. So it's like really deep, like deep within ourselves. Like, it hit so hard, and I wanted to share it with you. Okay. So, sorry for the long ramble. There was a lot to cover because I got derailed by unpredictable things like that, right? So let's keep it moving. So for our composite chart, we have Scorpio Ascendant, and your Ascendant is the face that you present to the world, the face that you present to the public at large. So how I've been reading the Ascendant in a composite chart is how others see your relationship. But it also is sort of like the start of the story, the intro of the story. Like this reads like a whole love story. My natal chart reads like a whole like life story. Like I did cry. It's like very emotional, like discovering yourself for the first time. I feel like that's like what I've been going through for the past 2 weeks, is like a deaf person who hears music for the first time, only it's like seeing like the beautiful me for the first time in a lot of ways. Anyway, so the Ascendant in the composite chart might be interpreted another way, but this is how I'm interpreting it now. So sort of the face that others see, and it's at 11 degrees Scorpio, and it starts out with they paint a scene for us, right? So it says, gnarled, twisted trees against an overcast sky. It goes on to say, seeing the worst, feeling the worst, knowing the worst, in tune with darkness, difficulty, and melodrama. You are sharply drawn to points of view and ways of life that bear the stamp of irony, skepticism, and doubt. There can be a corrosive immersion in cycles of falling for the worst. However, you are closely watched by guiding spirits, and allowed to become only so far shadowed. And then a massive corrective action asserts itself, reversing many terrifying patterns. Playing with fire, checking out the dark side of the tracks, but inwardly you seek regeneration and even salvation in the most unlikely places, which in the ultimate reckoning may be the most likely places. Isn't that so sweet? You're probably like, what? And I had to like reread it, and this is going to be different for everyone. But if you have any of these degrees, then it might like liberate you, right? But this is basically saying that both of us have had a troublesome love past, and so we are tapped into the darkness, to the drama, to the tragedies that can happen in love, right? We have been jaded. But it's sort of like saying angels have blessed this connection, like miracles are on our side. Closely watched over by guiding spirits, allowed to become only so far shadowed, right? So it's like, you guys have suffered enough. Like, I feel like the face of it is like something that seems like it would never happen happens, right? So that's kind of beautiful. Especially, like, I used to beat myself up so much because I used to love, like, tragic love stories. And then I would experience them over and over again and just thought, like, maybe I should, like, change course and, like, rom-coms or something. So after my karmic relationship, I stopped watching drama movies. I'd only watch comedy or horror. Horror because it's, like, not love related, right? It's like that like drama emotion without the love. Yeah, only watched comedy because I wanted like a happy ending, but I still like romanticize tragic romance sometimes, and I know he does too. I know you do. All your like Jacques Godard foreign film tragic romance. I know you. But we're both that way. But it's like the universe sees, other people see that, like, despite that attraction to tragic romance, that we're good people who deserve, like, that happy ending. Also in the first house continues to go through our identity. In a natal chart, in a synastry chart, in a composite chart. So this is still how others see us, and this is like what we're rewarded for, what sort of the couple personality that we lean into, right? So we have Uranus is conjunct our ascendant, and Uranus is in Scorpio at the 12th degree in the first house. Uranus is a planet of weirdos. We're both we're both weirdos. He has Uranus in his first house. I have Uranus in my 12th house. So when it's that close to the ascendant, like, people see you as weird. We are weird individually, so we're weird as a couple, right? But it's okay. Uranus also means genius. We do have genius placements. Uranus also means brilliant. Uranus means change. So I believe like our relationship was meant to change the collective at large. Uranus can also mean shakeups, breakups, is what it is. But let's read Scorpio at the 12th degree. It says, a young man with a frail body, but a beautiful and noble face. Goes on to say, old roots crumbling, new self emerging. Historical underpinnings, not very... Oh, I'm sorry, guys. One more thing I want to say about the Scorpio 11. It said you look for salvation in the most unlikely of places. And there's a cute Tinder story. I do want to cover that in another twin flame video. But remind me, okay? Because... well, I'll be reminded, but I just wanted to insert it for a foreshadowing for you guys. Let's get back to Scorpio 12. Sorry about this. So it says, historical underpinnings not very strong. The vision of what can be, the vision of what can be burns bright and clear. You've been held back a long time by questions about health and safety, viability and durability. Always seeming on the way out, yet the internal image of who you are intended to become looms large and seeks to become incarnated. The battle between what could never be and what must emerge, the underlying feeling tone is that somehow, barely, despite all odds, the infinite one can be born directly in the shell of the one who could not be. Doesn't that blow your mind? And then all bets are off. Absolutely anything is possible. So this is, again, reiterating that message of, despite all odds, miracles happen and things come forth. So there's paranoia about health and safety, viability, durability. He has a problem with cynicism. It's okay. We all have our problems. But he tends to go to the worst because he has suffered some hardships in love life, right? And so he wants to prepare for the worst before he gets all up in his feelers, right? So there has been there's been a stop on moving forward because of calculations. It's basically like trying to be risk averse, right? But because of the miraculous nature of, anything is possible. And also, what does it say? Sorry. Always seeming on the way out, yet the internal image of who you are intended to become looms large and seeks to become incarnated. Incarnated is 3D, right? Anything that incarnates into the universe, I want to talk about this too. Just sort of like law of attraction, manifestation, reality stuff. Matrix. Anything that's incarnated in our 3D reality first came in the 5D, right? First was conceived in our head. If you paint a painting of your house, you have to see the house through your eyes, interpret it in your brain, then your brain has to recreate it in your hand, the physical hand, but your brain is the 5D, right? So whenever we say incarnated, it's like this love has been cooking in the 5D, and it longs, like it has to be incarnated, right? Like that energy cannot stay in the 5D. It has to be physically out. And with Uranus there, that's even more like amazing because Uranus is like sudden, like invention, right? So despite all odds, like this has to happen. I don't want to hang on to it, like I do want to release, I do want to surrender, I do want to let go. There's a lot of projects I need to work on, a lot of like my life stuff, want to focus it back in on myself. But I just had like one little last hurrah with this love story because it's so beautiful. I hope you're connecting with this as much as I am. But historical underpinnings, not very strong. I like that because Uranus is also about breaking tradition. And any advice that my friends and family have been giving me, and him too, we'll get to that later. But it's come from a place of their own lens. It's come from a place of how we've always done things, but this is not a normal relationship. This is not a normal love journey. So there's the advice is not going to be the same, right? And I think a lot of twin flames experience that. But because there's no historical underpinnings, because you're essentially creating a new paradigm through this relationship, then you like this is totally something new, right? Totally something new that needs to be incarnated. And like Scorpio, it's like you've taken all that like gunk of love, right? That like coal into a diamond, right? That like coal of love, and the pressure of it, from all your pain, all your emotion, and then connecting with another like alchemic force who has experienced the same thing and has the same pressure, has to burst into a diamond, right? Has to be incarnated into a diamond, transform, phoenix through the ash, right? I love it. But historical underpinnings, it can't be what it was in the past, right? A diamond can never go back to a coal, right? Historically, it was a coal. Now it is a diamond. You can't turn it back into a coal. I'm not going to get into second house placements, but we are a power couple and pretty lucky in like money wise. Might not always seem like it, but that's for me and him to discuss at a later time. I'm not going to do it right now because it should be between me and him. You know, if and when we do finally connect, there is so much I want to tell you. Like, so many, like, weird synchronicities and stuff that I just wonder, like, did you really do that? Did you feel that too? I can't wait to, like, reconnect and, like, see all that. Okay, this is so beautiful, you guys. This is so beautiful. So our North Node is in our 5th house. It's in Pisces. And North Node is sort of the direction that it's like pointing your compass in the direction, in this direction, right? So the North Node is also breaking out of our comfort zone. So it's not something easy that comes to us. But it will put us on our, point us in the direction that we should be going in this relationship, right? So whenever this relationship is spiraling, you can look to your South Node and see the problems, like why it's spiraling. And then you look to your North Node and that's sort of the remedy of like, okay, we're in this like same stupid pattern. Let's try something new. Let's get back on track. And the North Node is going to be hard. The North Node is not easy to master, but that's like why we're here, right? So we have to continually like remind ourselves of the North Node, right? So North Node in Pisces in the 5th house. 5th house is love and romance and children and creativity. So North Node 26 at the 26th degree in Pisces is the Aurora Borealis. I love it. I want to go there. I want to go see the Aurora Borealis. And it's just magical. Like that's the North Node. That's my North Node. That's beautiful. Okay. The Aurora Borealis says, the brink of the infinite, tapping directly into realms of existence beyond the physical. You sense all pervasively the multiple frequencies of all that is really here. So reminding ourselves that the 3D reality isn't the entire truth, that yes, the love needs to be incarnated in our 3D reality. That's like the mission statement, the thesis of the point of this relationship, right? But we can really get caught up in the 3D details, and I'll go to that with the South Node whenever we get to it. But getting caught up in the details, Virgo, the details of what's in our 3D reality can really make me spiral into, is this connection real? Did he love me? Did he not love me? Is this all in my head? Do I have mental illness? So spiraling into that, trying to get like exact evidence. Even doing these natal charts is trying to get exact evidence, right? Because I'm trying to like test every degree and figure out, like, crack the code, right? But with Pisces, this is encouraging us to trust beyond the veil, right? Trust sort of that imaginary 5D of what we had both co-created in the 5D, and not getting so stuck in the minutia, right? So let's continue. Having a vast grasp on what is possible and of what is asking to be brought in, while extended very far into regions others miss, right? So this is a territory that, like they said, has no historical underpinnings. It's breaking paradigms, so others can easily miss this. And because it's in the 5D, it's in the ethereal, it's like very much others could miss, right? It is that dreamy, sometimes delusions, sometimes like actual spiritual things we just cannot see, like we're limited as humans to see, right? Feeling, hearing, tasting the power of spirit in action. Yes. Half mesmerized and half supercharged to get everybody in on it somehow. Yes, I want you to believe. I want you to get in on it somehow. Half mesmerized. Oh, I already said that. Perhaps retreating to more traditional versions of the infinite path if frightened by a lack of understanding coming back. Communing with the mysteries and absolutely at home, within the places others find strange. And really, for the most part, it has not felt strange to me. Like, I do like hear his thoughts. I like feel him beside me a lot of times. So, and others don't understand that. And there's been like astral things, but friends and family don't understand that. But it's at home to me with what they find strange, right? I'm basically seeing a ghost who is alive. It's like having a relationship with a ghost who is still walking on the face of the earth, like as a live person. Communing with mystery. The inside becomes all, the outside virtually transparent to the light within. So, that is where we're going, what we need to focus on. So the DC, the Descendant, is opposite of your Ascendant. So we talked about how the Ascendant is your mask. The Descendant is sometimes seen as your shadow, but it can also signify like your partner in life, because it's in between the 6th house of your daily work, your daily habits, right? Your daily routines. And then the next house is your 7th house of partnerships and marriage. And so the Descendant, that DC, is right in between that. It's right in between like the person you see every day when you wake up in the morning and when you go to bed. And then, you know, the person that you love, who is this marriage is business partner. Okay. Let's wake up to that fact. So it's in between like your daily life and your romantic business partner. And it's called the shadow because this is something we can't see in ourselves, right? That we have it in ourselves, but we look for it in a partner because it's something we can't see. So it's crazy, like whenever your partner triggers something in you, we think it's sort of separate from us, but it's usually like something within us that like we need to like heal within ourselves, right? They're triggering us to like alert us to respond to our own issues, right? The DC in our chart is at 11 degrees Taurus. This is crazy, y'all. It says, a woman with flames for hair. I have red hair! It's kind of blonde right now, but like I'm known for my red hair. And that's like so specific. How? So what I have found in this composite chart, as far as reading the degrees, is the Descendant, and in the 7th house describes like each of us individually. Like the Ascendant would be how others view the couple as a whole, and then the Descendant is like us as individuals. So it's just so crazy. Like if we talk about shadow in a composite chart, like of course a composite chart, a blend of two different charts, people would see you as a whole, right? But like the shadow side of that is you as an individual, like two people as an individual. But in a natal chart, it's like the opposite, right? I hope I'm explaining myself. I just found this like so fascinating. And if you are like crazy about astrology, I would love to like sit down and show you this like epiphany with a chart in front of us sometime. Anywho, so a woman with flames for hair, that's me. It says direct, full on, and unstoppable, pushing for optimal outcomes. You are self-convinced and hard driving, so passionate about your own desire and impulse that anything off to the side is far out of the picture, and all that counts is to have your say to make an impact. Something long gathering, suddenly emerging as rage, self-intent, need, and craving. Personal to the nth degree. Almost, forgive me, I'm going to mispronounce this word, solipsistic. I looked it up, but I'll have to buff up my vocabulary with that one. Me mattering. I've seen it before 1,000 times. Doesn't matter, Lauren. It's okay if you don't know a word. Me mattering after being counted out. Yes. So it was like me as a Libra, I put my partner's needs ahead of my own. And then whenever the shit hit the fan, it was like, why are you paying attention to me? You feel the surge of power of someone else who recognizes that they are bearing a life force that can no longer be put down, and you follow the brightness wherever it takes you, blindly, insensately, and beautifully. I'll read that again. You feel the surge of power of someone who recognizes that they are bearing a life force that can no longer be put down. I can no longer be put down. I can no longer be ignored. I have been feeling this in my soul lately, and I think he triggered this. Like, see me, see me, see me, see me. I just, like, feel so, like, unseen. A life force that can no longer be put down, and you follow the brightness wherever it takes you, blindly, insensately, and beautifully. Beautiful, beautiful. So that describes me, I would say. Next in the 7th house, we have Taurus at the 12th degree in Chiron retrograde. And Chiron is the wounded healer. So these are things that trigger us. But whenever we work through these triggers, then we're able to heal others based on how we healed ourselves. But we had to go through that learning process of learning how to heal ourselves so that we could share that healing with others, right? So Chiron retrograde says a very old elephant. Oh, this is so sweet. Chiron retrograde 7th house says nostalgia and intimately familiar worlds in that each character is known very well. Living inside a hologram which contains every world you have ever known. It is still reflective interior and recedes into lunar caverns. All is moonlit and invokes philosophical reflections. There is time. There is room. There is permission to be one who brings back the country, the quiet times, the special touches, who quietly, unobtrusively keeps the fiber steady. Resourceful and unique, the very best of small town life. A trail left to follow, nothing ever lost. The stones do not forget. Oh my God, guys. If that's not like carry the torch energy, I don't know what is. That is so sweet. Ah! I hope yours is just as sweet if I get to read for you, because I'm just like, you will be blown away by the love story of your own connection, okay? And if you don't want me to do this for you, you can like internet it, Google it, whatever. Next in the 7th house, we have a lot of 7th house placements. That's a good sign, by the way. They are little troublesome placements. Well, Chiron is a little troublesome, but like, I feel like it works with us. With our like individual personality. Too long, don't read. Don't have time to get into it. Let's move on to Pallas. Not everyone reads Pallas. I do. I read the minor asteroids. Pallas in the 7th house at 24 degrees Taurus. So this is more of a descriptor of him, I believe. And it says, a man with no mouth. He's strong and silent type. Cancer. Closed crab. So he says, nothing to say, everything to do. The self cannot be articulated because it is far too busily pressed out into emergency mobilization 24 hours a day. No personal life, no personal world, no personal self. Just fantastic ability to the call, the collective vigil, entered upon willingly and selflessly. The demands of rigors of this position and stance are punishing and extreme. You are so hard-pressed, so rabidly attentive that nothing else nothing else exists. The assignment is clear, brutally so. Be on the spot at every level, maintain order, keep everything going, and stay tuned to everything unusual and strange. Follow it out, keep it in your sights, and make absolutely sure that you stay sober, integrity sworn, and minutely diligent to hold the center and uphold the law with a steadfastness that is beyond belief and simply true. So, I feel like this is, there's also some workaholism. I did mention like power couple. So this is like, I sort of feel like this is describing like duty in the relationship, has a duty to provide, has a duty to do these things of service. I also believe there's some family stuff happening, but it's something that like I know in the 5D and have not confirmed on the 3D. And also, again, I want to keep some things private, but I guess this was this section was more to show you how the 7th house and the Descendant are like your individual, like you two as individuals, which just blows my mind. Next, we have the Vertex in the 7th house. Vertex is not a minor asteroid, but it is something I like to look at because the Vertex is a point of fate. It's a mathematical point of fate. And the Vertex is wild. Like, our first date, the first date with me and my twin flame, Uranus was transiting over his, like the direct exact degree, transiting over his vertex. And Uranus is like sudden change, like rock your world, right? And so like I rocked his world. And his vertex is in the 7th house. But it's crazy. I think something aligned to our composite too, that like vertex is like special times, synchronicities, but not like, I saw 11:11 on the clock. It's like, we met, like I met the love of my life at this exact date. So it's just wild. Vertex blows me away. I'm surprised more people don't use it, but it's okay. Okay, let's keep it moving. So the Vertex is in the 7th house, and it's at the 9th degree in Gemini. And it says, wildflowers growing around the ruins of a temple. Also would like to mention one of our first dates was at sort of this ruins. It was like a hike that had ruins at it. And whenever we, it did have wildflowers, but we were in a period of separation, and I reached out to go look at the wildflowers, and he rejected me or whatever, and so we separated again. That, like, wildflowers and ruins is just so, like, crazy that would come up in this interpretation in our Vertex, because those are actual things that, like, were a part of our story, you know? Just wild, wild. So it says, catching a second wind, again, second wind. It's all about second chances, which is our story, again, another time. Catching a second wind, taking a booster rocket from one cycle to another, one lifetime to another. Yes, we were in a past life. One whole stage of evolution to another. Evolution. Historical underpinnings not there. Shot out of a cannon to discover the next great thing. You are wildly attentive to signs and portents. Looking for a way to the future, coming out of immense soul experience. With flying colors leaping forth into the new. Enthusiastic, naive, and impressionable. Eager for 1,000 universes to come true. For 1,000 universes to come true. The 5D to come to the 3D. You feel that ultimate springtime quality. You feel that ultimate springtime quality of fresh immediacy and wind-blown alacrity, just sensing all through your body and soul. Just sensing all through body and soul the possibilities, the openings, what wants to happen next. A destiny bearer, universal in spirit and in the right place at the right time for remarkable synchronicities and huge turnarounds. Turnarounds. Yes. So we're all about turnarounds. I'll have to say it in another video because I'm already like 50 minutes into this. I know it's been a long journey for you guys on this video, but like I said, there was a lot to cover because of things I was thrown off by, but ultimately are things that could help anyone in this twin flame experience, right? So let's get on to our midheaven. Our midheaven is the status. I haven't fully figured out how to interpret the IC and the MC in the composite chart. I feel like it's like matriarchy, patriarchy. And, you know, can also be like home and how you guys are as a couple to the public eye. That's a little bit like Ascendant's more like close friends, and then Midheaven's like Kellyanne and George Conway, right? Like, people know George and Kellyanne, their close friends know them differently than like the public knows them. I'm sorry if that triggers you in some way. Came off the top of my head. There is no meaning to it. So I was just figuring it, like, I picked a random couple. So we have Leo in the 20th degree for our midheaven, and it says, a black pearl hidden in an oyster. What was I talking about? The coal and the diamond. The pearl and the oyster. Pearls come from sand. Like the beauty of this is just blowing my mind. And so I really encourage you to look at the degrees in your composite chart, and you will like be shown your love story. It's like I'm so beautiful. Like, it's so beautiful to me. I also want to check back with Catherine and see if she got any insight from the inside degrees. But anyway, let's continue. So working very hard to find again what is lost. How much more clear can it be? To get at what is conspicuously missing, it takes tremendous inner forces to restore the pearl. But most of all, you must vanquish your pride and acknowledge from the core of your being that going through this world without your deep soul intact is hell. Oh my God, so sweet. So it's like, yeah, you can like put on pretenses like you're okay, but like without your deep soul intact, it's like your soul needs like its counterpart. So sweet. If you seek, you shall find. If you ache, you shall come to a restored wholeness, but not without suffering, the grief, and facing the void, initiation in the depths. It is a superb path if you have the courage and the stamina for it. But midstream, it is, excuse me, I have never seen this word. Cauterizing, corrosive, and deadly. Appearances are deceptive. Again, this is how the 3D reality tricks what we know on the 5D, right? Appearances are deceptive. Nothing is as it might seem for a while. What matters supremely is guts and integrity. So it takes courage. And like I said, it might be matriarchy, patriarchy. I didn't read the IC because I feel like that's more personal to both him and me. But if this is like patriarchy, you know, this is the status of relationship, but I also would say it's sort of like what Big Papa needs to come home with. And part of that is courage. Leo is all about courage, but yes, that excerpt definitely talked about courage. So we also have Leo to the 30th degree. Our Saturn is in the 10th house. At the 30th degree of Leo. And Saturn is actually pretty good in the 10th house because that's its natural home. Saturn, Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, is in the 10th house. Saturn is about discipline, and it can be about commitment, faithfulness. It's a good placement for us. I'm not, but I wanted to read... I wanted to read you this. So it says, doing inner work in an outer world. Doing inner work in an outer world. The 3D reality is the outer world. The 5D is the inner work. Precipitating limitless spirit into dense matter, right? So I'm talking about what we conceive in our 5D reality. And what did I say? Precipitating limitless spirit into dense matter. So limitless spirit is our 5D. We precipitate it into dense matter, right? Into the 3D reality, into matter, like physical matter, right? Working within higher laws. Tapping the source spring of existence, you are powerfully motivated to extend the range of the inner brightness into absolutely every facet of existence. So intensely purposive that you push yourself over every edge to achieve astounding things. You specialize in turnarounds. Another buzzword, turnarounds. We got to turn this thing around, right? You specialize in turnarounds, great shifts. Personally and collectively. Collectively, because we're meant to change the paradigm. A vision burns through. You know that if you extend yourself just another notch further, the victory will be won. Think about that. Think about that. I have extended myself quite far. So just think about that. A knack for staying in there till something gives, which is why I have been so committed and dedicated and Patience. A greater center of selfhood endows you with a central life radiance of unsurpassed glory. However, you tuck infinities away and appear as whatever is called for. Excuse me. However, you tuck infinities away and appear as whatever is called for. And if your essence spark shines through, it is incidental to the great design of bringing heaven to earth and being the one who makes that possible, selflessly and joyously and serenely. Ah, that's beautiful. So it takes a lot of discipline. And when I saw a woman sprinkling rose water in four corners of the room, it made me think of like ritual. And I have been very, I mean, my witchcraft is so personal that I've wanted to make videos so many times, but like when I'm in like the flow, like I don't want to like deal with a camera, and like honestly the energy of it like drains the camera's battery. Some of y'all might not believe that, but it does some crazy things. But in my opinion, ritual is grounding that 5D conceptualization you have in this ethereal plane, in the spirit plane. Grounding that, cementing that into the 3D reality. So when we talk about like witchcraft rituals, sprinkling rose water in the four corners of your room, but anything, right? It could be like putting your hands together and praying to God, or lighting a candle, lighting a prayer candle at like an altar, right? Anything, a vision board, right? Because you are taking something that's physical, a magazine clipping, and pressing it down, gluing it down onto paper, sort of like a signature to say, I want this in the physical 3D reality. That's how I believe all of these rituals, all of these practices make it possible for impossible things to happen in this matrix, right? I really want to get into that. I kind of wanted to talk about that this week, but again, got turned around by a lot of different things. We also have the sun in the 10th house. Does not surprise me. Like I said, power couple. Also, my sun is in the 10th house in my natal chart. His sun is in the 10th house in his natal chart. Excuse me. So career is very important to us. Like it's like the forefront of our mind. And when we reconnect, I'm so excited to do business, creative things with him. And that would bore the living daylights out of another person I would connect with. But like, I know he would be excited about it too. That's okay. I just have to like... It's okay. Okay, so the sun in the 10th house, we have it at the 8th degree of Virgo, and it says, a man thinking up names for colors. What could be more? That's like, because we're both like creative Hollywood types. And it says, the mind is a hilarious thing. It populates the world with its many ideas on top of what on top of what is there, and then can no longer see things in themselves in their pristine light. We trade direct experience for a culturally rich consciousness. This mental set is marvelously intricate and detailed. Becoming conversant with the human sphere takes up all your time and energy, drawing you ever further into complexity, multiplicity, and appreciation for the beauty and brilliance of the best in culture and civilization. The refinements and elaborations are infinite in scope. You become an expert, a central force, an adept in working the mind's magic. Working the mind's magic. 5D, 3D. In the largest picture, this is perfecting This is a perfecting of human intelligence in its concrete penetrating power, combined with its far-ranging spread into variety and universal brotherhood. That's beautiful. That isn't going to pertain to everyone's twin flame journey, but I get it as far as like our art. And wow, that's beautiful. It remains narrow spectrum, rational throughout, and does this up the best it can be done, and a little bit better. So I don't think that is a important to like twin flames at large, but I wanted to share. Next up, we have some Virgo placements too. We have Venus in Virgo to the 9th degree in the 10th house, and this one is not as like, it's kind of like, but I get like why it's there. We have South node around these placements, and so I believe I've done some past life regressions before, and I definitely know one of our past lives was we were a primitive people, and basically expectations on the villagers and how to go about courtship sort of like ruined our genuine connection. Again, too long don't read. I will talk about it some other time. But anyway, so this says a man mixing cement, jammed tight with concepts, thinking about what you are doing, interpretations, evaluations, opinions, and surmises, void of heart force, believing in progress, bent on success. You strictly, rigidly carry out what the mind dictates. A form of ignorance that is clever. Something missing in the soul. Compensations on top of compensations. Exceedingly busy, hyper with plans, projects, and enterprises. That is crazy because it's in the 10th house. I also just got a like ding for myself. Oh my God, what was it? Oh, it's like all the suffering that we have experienced in love. Like we have pivoted away. Like this is why we're workaholics. Because we've pivoted away from relationships and into our art, into our work, to where we're working like 80 hours a week, to do mundane things so that we don't have to think about our feelings. I struggle with that, and I know he struggles with that. And so now it just clicked for me that like that's our collective energy. You are good at achieving results, riveted to the phenomena, but prone to casting shadows that come back to haunt. That's true. Like I said, attracted to tragic love stories, so they come back to haunt us because they become self-fulfilling prophecies, right? Short-sighted and hooked into what is convenient and pragmatic. Perfect in small outer things, all of existence becomes small outer things. Perfect in small outer things, all of existence becomes small outer things. I don't think that's like sometimes you'll get placements that'll sting or that are not as like beautiful as others, but I don't think that means like your whole chart is shit, right? Like we've seen like some beautiful things, but because our sun is conjunct Venus, there is a lot of love there. There is a lot of like genuine love, genuine like friendly love, respect for each other. So even though that interpretation can sting a little bit, like it is like directing us into things we need to look at. And now we go to the 11th house, and we have Mercury in the 11th house at the 24th degree of Virgo. So this is conjunct that, is it conjunct? What degree was the other one? Oh, it was 9 degrees. But it's still in Virgo and it's close. So this is with our groups and our friendships. The 11th house is our groups and friendships. And I think influence of friends has tainted this relationship. Advice from his friends, advice from my friends. So I think that's what we struggle with in this relationship. But our South Node is in the 11th house. So basically, our challenge is listening to friends' advice, because it's never going to solve the relationship. It's never going to help us feel any like better about ourselves. The like biggest demon, the biggest shadow of this relationship is just listening to other people's advice and not taking our own, like not acting on our own feelings. I'm guilty of that. He's guilty of that. Placing too much emphasis on outside influences. So Mercury to the 24th degree in Virgo, it says a silver strident. This is interesting too, because this is Mercury at the 24th degree, and I'm going to get into our South degree at the 26th, or our South node at the 26th degree. So this is a silver trident, silver. And then 26 is a man counting gold coins. So silver and gold, very interesting. And we do have some placements connected to the 11th house and the 2nd house. Again, I'm not going to tell you about our money because that's not your business. But it does have to do with friendship. So I find this like highly fascinating that it would say silver and gold. Like once you do this, like I feel like it's going to like blow your mind. Okay, it says physically in tune with the collective and assigned the task of maintaining a vigil of collective awareness. You are sent to outposts to stay tuned to partake in universal communications networks. So I feel like we both have a responsibility to the collective as far as how we present ourselves. And I think both of us are aware that we do hold like messaging in our hands. And I don't know how like committed and dedicated he fully is to that. But I mean, I know that's some of it, right? If you have a sun in the 10th house, then you're kind of concerned about reputation and like my influence over people. That really does like concern me. Like one of the reasons I get scared about being famous is that I know I'm a powerful person and I don't want like to misuse that power. Like that kind of scares me. So just like living in integrity, right? Is our Mercury. Singularly devoid of self-drive. So it's all about serving the collective, serving our friends, like being aware of our influence over groups. Sacrificial incarnation, immensely far removed from the usual territory of the mind. You have been granted the opportunity to serve and to suffer, right? Exquisitely sensitized, brilliantly astute, and seeking and searching for ways for everybody to reconnect. Solitude, seclusion, stillness, wishing and yearning for the world to be at peace and for people to understand each other. I think we both, like me and him, want that. You contribute constructively. Consecrated, mystical, and right there on the inside of life, you wait timelessly for all good things to come in their season. So that's how we communicate, what we want to communicate, our communication style. Again, because it's related to the South Node, it's kind of a little sting, sort of our trouble parts of our relationship. It doesn't mean it's doomed. It's just like what we have to work on. Every story has conflict. As a screenwriter, I have to put conflict in my stories because movies are about overcoming that conflict, right? The happy ending is about getting over that hump. It's a long ass video. It's like 75 minutes now. It's okay. Let's continue with the gold coins. South Node. So like I said, South Node is what we need to release, what we need to move away from, what we have done over and over again in a past life and trips us up in this lifetime. It says an old man counting gold coins. That's also saying again, like, you guys work too hard. But it says getting your bearings, determining your limits, finding a reality fix. Reality fix. If we're too stuck in the 3D reality, we can't conceptualize the 5D reality because we're looking for all these details to confirm like what we really believe instead of believing that like what we believe will present itself in the 3D, right? I hope I'm making sense there. But reality versus matrix. We need to move away from strict reality and into possibility of matrix, right? Coming down to earth and becoming sober and straight and clear. You are overwhelmingly convinced that there must come this cleaning up and clearing up. Sick and tired of pretense and hype, hungry to get down to basics and somewhat hooked on the quantitative intelligence. I see quantitative intelligence in our 11th house of groups, so it's like obsessed with quantity, meaning like Virgo is all about data, like spreadsheets and stuff. So like collecting the results from your friends of what they think you should do and letting that determine what actions to take instead of like using your heart, right? So both of us struggle with that. Not gonna lie. Blurring distinctions. Intent on being viable, correct, and self-sufficient. I think there is too much of a push nowadays in general to be like single and happy. I don't need no one. I don't need no man. But we're social creatures. We do need people. Like, it's kind of the point of making life is to fall in love, to love your baby, to keep it alive. We need people. What else? We have, if all things are taken up with a twinkle of humor, they are digestible. But if they become self-serious and a little too proper, they are deadly and sickening. Very true. That's probably why my loved ones are annoyed with me, because I can get very doom and gloom about it sometimes. You learn to throw off the attitude and to cleave to the substance of getting things right unapologetically and steadfastly. So actually, we should not cling to getting things right. Yeah, let's keep it moving. So we also have Juno in the 11th house at the 28th degree of Virgo. And Juno is the marriage placement. Juno is the long-term relationship placement. And so what this tells me, being conjunct to the South Node, is that, yes, indeed, we were married in past life. But there are some aspects about marriage that both of us need to release. And he has actually been married before, so he's a little gun-shy about commitments, and understandably, you know, and I feel like in my own journey, I needed to vocalize what I wanted for the future, but in that process, I was a little too intense and scared him off. Like, I was trying to rush. I really wasn't trying to rush. I was just trying to, like, inform, you know, share what I ultimately wanted down the road. But my approach was off, and we never got a chance to work that out, right? Work out that kink. We never got that closure. So, oh well. Another time, because it has to incarnate, right? So we have Juno to the 28th degree in Virgo in the 11th house. So like I said, the 11th house is groups. So I think in our past life, our marriage was really connected to a group in some way, really connected to villagers. And it might not even have been, oh, I'm just getting another flashback. I'm not like entirely sure that this was him. Like, when I did one past life regression where we were like in the 1950s, and I woke up like feeling like it was him so strongly, and then when I tried to like work my brain around it later, I thought maybe it wasn't him, but like he felt it energetically or something. I will have to do a whole nother video on a past life regressions. We are into 80 minutes here, and there's so much I can cover. But basically, it was the 1950s, and he made a decision with his friend in regards to money, and he didn't ask me, and I felt like I had no life, like just like taking care of the kids and all of that. So basically, I abandoned them. But that memory, that past life memory, just flashed because that's another way that we were connected to friendships, right? Was like the friendship in that lifetime had to make a financial decision without me and without even telling me, which plays out in this lifetime too. Gosh. I'm like getting like other memories out. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Okay, so it says, Virgo to the 28th degree. Autumn leaves pressed into a book. The mind is a funny thing. It pores over experience like a fine-tooth comb, yet only sees what it is expected to see. The mind programs itself, indoctrinates itself thoroughly and intensively in the fine art, interesting fine art, of imposing the familiar and the assumed upon all of life. This is a maddening way to operate, yet it does not register as being so. Instead, you like it this way, prefer it, advocate it, simply because it is self-reinforcing and self-perpetuating. I'm rereading this. This is a maddening way to operate. Instead, you prefer it, advocate it, self-reinforce it, self-perpetuate it. The mind programs itself, indoctrinates itself thoroughly and intensively in the fine art of imposing the familiar and the assumed upon all life. Wow. Okay, so I think this is like when it says indoctrinated, when it talks about indoctrination, and like assumed, familiar and assumed, I feel like when we're talking about Juno, this is like the familiar and assumed about long-term relationships, the familiar and assumed about marriage. And of course it's going to be in groups because this is what the collective, like the paradigm that the collective has been led to believe, right? But like the twin flame experience is about shattering paradigms and restructuring relationships altogether. So our mind is programmed, is indoctrinated into these beliefs about what marriage should be, what long-term partnership should be. And like the mission of the twin flame experience is to create a whole new reality, a whole new matrix, right? A whole new paradigm. So it's maddening to operate that way. Instead, you like it. You are after elaborate confirmations and validations that the little self is perfectly splendid just as it is. And you will be sure to get these. The transaction is guaranteed, but there is an unknown self who cannot breathe in this atmosphere and who knocks at the door seeking entry and is not very pleased to be tuned out and pushed away and told that we are fine as we are and do not need to be stirred up by the voice of the rest of existence. Something to think about. These are very deep, right? So like I have read them like over and over again and I'm still getting little nuggets. So I really encourage you. I'll try to link it. But I have talked too much already. This has gone on long enough. I started late, so let's get off of this thing. There's some other placements I have that close up the story, but like I said, it's beautiful. And I'm so glad that I got to share it with you today. I will see you some other time. Hi, I'm about to get off of here, but I will see you tomorrow for our coffee vlog. See you next time. Bye.